In March of 2020, campuses across the country reeled at what they were going to do in regards to the coronavirus pandemic, many moving all of their students off campus and moving classes completely online. You may be asking yourself, this fall, is it safe to return to campus? And what is my campus going to look like? Here and in our blog, we will be detailing what campuses and colleges will look like this fall. So first, you may be wondering, what are my classes gonna look like? You're gonna see classes in 3 different formats this year. You're gonna see your in-person classes. We're mostly going to see that for our freshmen who are coming to campus, and we're gonna see those for our seniors who are spending their last year on campus. You're gonna see hybrid classes, which means you may have classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but you only go to campus for Tuesday class, and the other half of your class goes to campus on Thursdays. And we're also going to have what we're gonna see more of is online courses. And be wary, over the next 2 weeks, we're gonna see a lot of universities that are gonna decide it's not safe to go back just yet, and we need to move fully online. Something that you should be aware of this semester is that you most likely at one point or another will be tested for COVID-19. Not because you have it or because you have symptoms, but because testing is a huge part of making sure that we can decrease the spread to our fellow students and community. So if you're moving into the residence halls this semester, a lot of campuses are saying in order to live on campus, you need to have a COVID-19 test before you step onto campus. A lot of campuses are also saying, hey, we're gonna do isolated testing based off if you've been in contact, but we also may do testing randomly. Other things that you should be aware of this semester and maybe in the year to come, there's gonna be this thing called contact tracing. What contact tracing is establishing all of the people that I have been around if I do come in contact and am diagnosed with COVID-19. So that means that when I walk into spaces, I may have to register to be there if I'm in certain buildings or classes or go to certain events. Be prepared to give your information because people will need to know who they were in contact with all of the time. And the other thing is, what happens if I do get COVID-19? How do I isolate? I have a roommate or have roommates in an apartment off campus. A lot of campuses this semester are reserving specific space in order to help you have an isolation room to yourself. So maybe that's a hotel room or it's a residence hall, but there will be isolation spaces established in your campus community. So many students go to campus in order to make friends for a lifetime. Building community on college campuses is going to look different this year. First, the group size will be completely limited. A lot of places are saying 10 to 15, no more than 50. Be prepared that if you're planning to meet in a group, it is going to be of a smaller size. We're also going to be looking at what student organizations look like this semester. Will they be able to gather on campus? Are they going to be able to have meetings and events in campus spaces? That's going to be a huge contester on what it looks like to decrease the spread, is to limit the size of the groups that are able to join together on campus. A term that has been coined recently is the term virtual programming. So virtual programming is going to be all of those late night events and activities that you would normally participate in when you're on campus. Now they're going to be switched to a virtual format. So you're going to see games like Kahoot and Bingo and Trivia all now online, where you can meet fellow peers and classmates in that virtual setting. And don't even get me started on collegiate athletics. College sports will look different this year. Whether that's decreased fans in the stadium or no fans at all, you can be prepared to see a different sports atmosphere on your campus this semester. And then we get to talking about campus dining. And so gone are the days of you being able to hang out with your friends, going through the buffet line in the cafeteria, and then spending hours in the cafe. This year, it's going to be mostly pre-packaged, pre-ordered food that's going to be in a grab-and-go style. You won't be able to sit in the dining facilities. You'll have to exit the space, and more often than not, there's not going to be tables where groups can gather at all. which makes dining so interesting this year. We also have to look at meal plans and what meal plans look like for students who live on campus versus off. An interesting tactic that campuses are beginning to take this year is they are establishing meal plans for on-campus only students. That way they limit the amount of traffic that's even coming into a building. And so whether you have a meal plan or you're planning to go grab that slice of pizza from the buffet line, just be prepared that you may have to order it in advance. One of the first things you're going to notice when you step foot on a college campus this fall is that the space will just look different. Please wear a mask on the door signs when you walk in. You're going to see extra cleaning at all stations where maybe it's food or desks or info areas. You're going to see plexiglass. You're going to be asked and prompted to create virtual appointments over just stepping straight into a space. In the student unions, furniture is going to be taken out of those spaces so that you don't gather there. Because at the end of the day, college campuses want you to enroll, but they don't want you to be involved in the space longer than you need to be. So anticipate these major changes of mask wearing, washing your hands, sneezing into your elbow, but also recognizing that when you're ready to meet with a staff or a faculty, you may need to make a virtual appointment because that just keeps everyone safe. Next up, something that you should know and be aware of is campuses are changing their policies to hold you accountable. And so you may ask, what if I don't want to wear a mask? Or what if I want to gather off campus? They've thought of that too. Campuses have changed their code of conduct policies. They've now instituted policies on health and safety and what happens if you are deliberately going against it. Universities like Purdue University have started something called the Purdue Pledge, where they're asking every student, faculty, and staff to sign it. You might have to submit a daily health form, but you also are going to have to go through training modules in order for you to even have the holds lifted off of your account to go to class in the fall. At the end of the day, there's going to be so much accountability that's happening on campus, and they want to hold you accountable to what the state laws in your region look like, what the federal laws look like, but also what the local laws in your community are. And so if there's a local community ordinance, you're going to be responsible as a student in that community to follow those local laws as well. At the end of the day, you are the only one that can decide if you feel safe enough to come to your college campus this fall. But what I can say is that colleges and universities are trying everything in their power to think of creative solutions in order to get you back to campus safely. But all of those creative solutions, from wearing masks to virtual appointments to potentially having hybrid classes, that could go to waste depending on the students in your community and how they decide to react to these policies and procedures that the university is putting into place. Only you can decide, but also when you think about peer accountability, if students are off campus and they're not practicing the same rules and regulations that they would practice when they're on campus, all of these efforts could be for nothing. We detail much more of the policies, the practices that campuses are walking with and trying to work with in order to get you back to campus safely this fall, and we definitely recommend you check out those pointers on our blog.